Welcome to the Two and a Half Brothers podcast, where we discuss FPL views and strategy, but most importantly, our monthly league. It's free to enter with monthly prizes, the League Cup, overall winner, and random ideas we pick up along the way. We are up to nearly 300 entries, so we'll be looking to close the league over the course of the weekend to new entrants. So do try and squeeze in. We are open to receiving ideas via Stephen or Jake at brothers-fpl.com. We have a small website shown on the screen now that contains all of the rules, the winners, and our contact information. It's probably easiest and quickest to get in touch with us via our TikTok account. We have titled this episode Sunday Roast, where one of us presents our draft team to the others. We are missing one of the brothers today. He's otherwise engaged. We're going to provide some feedback and critique, all through the lens of our monthly league and our own views. So how are you feeling, Jake, about the Sunday roast?
Thanks. I do love a roast, preferably for dinner. Not so much on my team, but looking forward to seeing your views, being in the hot seat, I suppose. Hopefully justifying my choices. Interested to see what comments you have, if I can improve my team in any positions potentially, or if you think it's perfect and have no issues with it whatsoever.
Yeah, I certainly don't think that will be the case. Do you want to grab your team?
Yeah, so I'll just pull this up from the Premier League website. So yeah, this is my current draft as of Saturday. It might change again in the next 2 weeks before the game kicks off, but I think I'm pretty happy with it now after tinkering with it quite a bit. So yeah, let's get into it and see what Steve has in for me.
2 weeks with no changes for a draft team would be absolutely remarkable. So best of luck there. Um, could you just give, I guess, a broad overview of how you've approached the structure of the team?
I think the first thing is just trying to build around the key players that I want to get involved. So starting with Matt Sowles, I think's been essential in each one of my drafts. Also Cole Palmer, Mo Salah, and Ollie Watkins, probably the four main players I want to get involved, and then just trying to build around that with again strong players who will be getting good minutes and hopefully getting returns for me.
Cool. I was hoping it would be a bit worse, to be honest. It looks a decent first go. I have a couple of these players, but there's quite a bit of variability between the teams. Um, for Sells, I feel like he's the best value goalkeeper
Yep.
in the game at the moment. Um, I noticed you had Darlow. Meslier was Leeds number one last year, but he was getting battered in his performances. I had hoped to ask Rob about his views on Leeds, but he's not with us. I think the Forest fixtures are okay as well, aren't they? So Sells looks a pretty good pick, particularly if you're not selecting one of their defenders, which you don't have. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely no problem there. I have started to cool on Udogie a little bit. Um, I don't overall mind the Spurs kind of improvement thesis. I just wonder in terms of minutes. He wasn't that much of a fixture last year, was he? But
No.
Tarkowski's probably the best of the Everton defenders, alongside Brantwaite in terms of scoring those CBI points. Um, so no problem there either. He's in my draft at the moment. I think the most interesting defender you've picked is Munoz. I was surprised to see him in only, I think, 10% of teams, give or take. Um, he was genuinely exciting to watch last year. I think he had 10
Yeah.
goal involvements.
Yeah.
He does have a harder start, I guess, with Chelsea, Forest and Villa, but you don't have him for those. You don't necessarily have him for those clean sheets.
Bring up
And
his
do you have his heat map
fixtures.
there? We've grabbed his heat map from
Yes.
Fantasy Football Scout members area. We're not affiliated with it in any way whatsoever, but it's just a really nice
It's
representation. Um, that is mental. If
yeah.
I would fancy most players being able to guess whose heat map that was if they were shown it without any prior knowledge. If you just scroll down to the table beneath that, we can see his touches in the opponent's box, and it's just off the chart for some of those games. Uh, 9 for Everton and Crystal Palace. It's absolutely astonishing.
It's
Um,
insane.
See, I think that's a really interesting pick, given his, like I say, given his performances last year.
Yeah, I think watching him last season was just insane and always made the games fun. Just one of those players you just enjoy owning. And yeah, 10 goal involvements last season. I think also he got 11 clean sheets with Palace as well. So you pair those two together and it's pretty monster hauls some weeks. And yeah, you just can't go without him, I don't think. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be one of the more popular picks to start off the season, which is surprising.
Yeah, I think it's often the case. I think lots of players are looking at these centre backs in terms of the improved scoring system. Um, Maybe looking at players like Aït for City, who's kind of similar characteristics. But
Yeah.
yeah, no issue there really.
But just on the point of the defensive contribution points, Tarkowski would have picked up an extra 44 last season, which I think is insane. I think it would have made him, yeah, again, one of the sort of top scoring defenders. So looking forward to seeing how he does this season. He's just back as well from injury. I think he played 20 minutes in their last preseason game. So hopefully be back to full fitness soon, which is what we want to see going forward.
Yeah, and obviously a good opening fixture as well. Um, I think broadly, I'm hoping that the promoted teams are a bit better than those of the last couple of years. But still, it's a plum fixture, isn't it? And
Yeah,
I was interested to
hope so.
see Marmoush in your team. I haven't seen him in that many drafts so far. Um,
Mm.
I think he's potentially well, another one of these players that's too cheap. Um, if he
Mm.
can if he can get a run of minutes, which is always the risk with the City players. He was really good last year when Haaland was out. He's super active, lots of touches around the box and shots, which you'd expect from a City attacker. For me, it still feels at the moment it's Haaland or nobody. I have tinkered with Haaland out, Marmoush in, but that minutes risk to me is quite difficult to overcome. There's some really interesting options in midfield as well. Do you have any nervousness
Yeah,
in this one?
again, it's this what you've already mentioned with Pep and that City midfield. It's always a minute's risk. I think the main reason for owning Marmoush is sort of fear of Haaland just going nuts and just trying to cover some of that City attack. Again, is probably not. Yeah, like you said, it's probably Haaland or nobody. But I'm hoping Marmoush can at least bridge the gap if he does go on an absolute rampage and hopefully get a couple of assists. He did look sharp last season. Again, he might benefit with Haaland coming back and just playing in those pockets sort of behind him. So I think I'll start with him, see how it goes. Can always pivot to another midfielder if needed. But I think for now, it's probably the best City option I can get without sacrificing my team too much to get Haaland in.
Yeah, fair enough. Not too much to say on Salah, really. You probably shouldn't go without the player that scored 340 odd points last year before any captaincy calls. I do think there are potentially some options in players like Wirtz if you do want to try and free up some cash for Haaland. That's the way I'm leaning at the moment. It's probably more of a philosophical kind of team structure question, isn't it, as to whether you go with him or not. I just think Liverpool have been pretty active in the transfer market, and we might see some of those points shared around. Isaac is obviously still up in the air, but yes, it's no complaints there. Kudus is obviously really popular. I think we might have even touched on this in our last podcast in terms of the Spurs improvement this year. The Spurs fans are really excited about him. There was one poster suggesting that there's £100 million player in there, which I thought was an interesting take. Um, his goal involvements have been roughly in line with previous seasons and in line with expectation. Um, he's pretty active in terms of his heat map in and around the box, and his minutes per chance created and minutes per XGI aren't great, and his shot accuracy is really bad. So there is some improvement required.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll get that from having a new manager and possibly better players around him. For 6.5 million, I don't think the risk is that excessive, particularly given the fixtures that the Spurs have. I think Palmer's an interesting one. Chelsea's fixtures are really, really good to start with. He had a remarkable drop off towards the second half of last season, which caused untold pain for the managers that held on to him. Hopefully, that was an aberration. Chelsea again have been active in the transfer window. I'd expect some improvement there. I guess that's the case for you too.
Yeah, I think yeah, the drop off at the end of last season was pretty big. I don't think anyone really saw that coming. He was struggling to get goals. I think from what I've seen in the Club World Cup, he's looked pretty sharp. A few goals against PSG hopefully helps his confidence. Again, it does seem like a risk playing a lot of football, but he seems to always get 90 minutes on penalties. And again, one of the highest scoring players still last season. So I'm hoping he'll come back into the season red hot. And again, just a player I can't really go without this season.
At least at the start, I think it's hard to pick any of the other Chelsea attack
Yeah.
outside of Palmer.
Yeah, initially I did have Pedro and no Palmer, but I think I pivoted back
Yeah,
to just
half the
Palmer
game has
now.
Pedro at the moment.
Yeah, I think I get 60 minutes, 70 minutes at best. You've got Delap waiting as well to come on, and won't be on penalties. I think Palmer's just worth the extra cash.
Cool. So if we have a look at the front line, see, so you've got Welbeck. Uh,
Yeah.
he's fairly popular at the moment. Um, my personal view is that there's more productive, cheap strikers. He looked pretty fit last year, um, and it's the first season I think since 2011 that he's played more than 2,000 minutes.
Oh,
So he's really
well.
he's really
That's impressive.
coming into his prime as he ages.
Yeah, yeah, just on Welbeck last season. I think I owned him for a little bit, and again he looked pretty sharp. A few goals here and there. I think he had um, 10 goals, 5 assists, similar to Pedro at Brighton. Pedro also had 5 penalties in that time, so hopefully if Welbeck's on penalties, again should increase his output this season. So looking forward to owning him. I
Yeah,
think he'll do quite
that's
well
fair enough.
to start with.
So Strand Larsen's, I think, gaining some popularity as well. Um, he's an absolute shot accuracy beast. It's nearly 70%. It's one
Oh
of the
well.
best in the league. It's just remarkable. So he overperformed his XGI a little bit last year, but that's understandable with those numbers. My only real concern is that Wolves will be not very good. Um, should get penalties with Cunha gone. But Wolves fans haven't been impressed with their pre-season activity.
Yeah, again, he might be one that benefits from a player leaving, picking up those pens from Cunha and possibly being more of the target man for Wolves, which is what I'm sort of telling myself. Trying to fill myself with confidence. I'm hoping he'll do well to start off the season, despite having, yeah, it's got a tough fixture with City, but then Bournemouth and Everton. I think he could do quite well. And yeah, like you said, that shot accuracy is it's just insane.
Cool. And lastly, Ollie Watkins. So I'm really torn on. Obviously, he might get his move away. He missed
Mm.
he missed 27 big chances last year, which I find absolutely incredible. He
Season.
still scored a respectable number of points, and he's got good fixtures to start. By and large, I think after the Newcastle game,
Hmm.
I think Rodgers is popular too at the moment. I think you could probably downgrade to Rodgers if you did want to cover that Villa attack, but he's obviously the main man for the time being. No real competition at Villa. Yeah, I think that's all that's worth
Yeah,
commenting on, to be honest. Unless you've got anything else to add.
yeah. Just on Watkins. I think last season again he did really well, and I think he's pretty solid for 9 mil. I guess the only other alternative is Gyökeres at that price point, which again, an unproven prem player. We don't know how he's going to come in and settle at Arsenal. So I think getting Watkins in is just a safe bet. Good minutes, penalties, he gets goals and assists. It's just how will Villa do this season? I think that again do pretty well, um, same as last season. And yeah, Rodgers, I think it's interesting. Him and Rodgers have both scored 2 goals each in their preseason so far. So even if you want to double up on them, you never know. It could pay off. I think last year they did pretty well when I owned both of them, racking up goals and assists together. But I think the team so far is pretty solid. Is there anyone here you would swap out, do you
It's not
think?
for me. It's not for me to say. Yeah, it's nice to see some interesting picks in there. I think generally you're a manager that plays a bit more orthodox
Yeah.
in terms of so it's players like Marmoush and Munoz, as we've touched on, at least at the start of the season,
Hmm.
are diverging a little bit from some of the mainstream kind of views, which I think is really good.
Yeah.
So
Gotta
yeah, not as much of a roast as I'd hoped for, but
have
yeah, work in progress.
fine. We'll
I
take
think the
it.
bench is pretty standard from what I've seen. They're probably the best of the rest with the budget that you've got left. Would you be playing Strand Larson in the opener?
I think so. I think you have to. I'm not sure if there's anyone on the bench, possibly Belieber, that I would play over him. But again, we saw City last season concede quite a bit.
Yeah,
So hopefully
they can be quite accommodating, can't they?
yeah. So hopefully that carries on. We've seen Wolves score and beat them a few times recently as well. So let's hopefully keep that form up. And yeah, give Strand Larsen a goal in the opening week would make me very happy.
I guess lastly, I'm surprised there's no Man United in there, given your Red Devil tendencies.
Yeah, I got pretty punished last season, committing to Bruno for the first few game weeks with 2 points per game. They do look remarkably better in pre-season. I don't want to get my hopes up, but they beat
Cool.
Bournemouth 4-1. If you do want to go there, um, I think Bruno isn't a bad shout. But again, we just don't know how they're going to do this season, and I'm just trying to stick to players for good teams that will hopefully score for me. I don't want to risk it. If we do see those United players come out early days in the season and return those fantasy points, I'm not saying I wouldn't go there again. I think it's just a wait and see.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool. Well, best of luck with the draft, the ongoing draft.
Yeah.
Um, please, any feedback or comments, drop us a line either on TikTok or Jake or Steve at brothers-fpl.com. My team will be getting the Sunday roast next week, so please tune in for that. And good luck with the drafts.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for your comments as well. And yes, send in your drafts if you want those reviewed and rated as well. But thank you for tuning in.